Hey y'all, it's me again. I want to talk about something real fast that I don't think we talk enough about. I don't think we really realize how much it plagues our community, especially the Black community. And I kind of think we're almost socially predisposed to have it. And as a survivor of it myself, someone that deals with it every day, I feel like it's something that has to be talked about, because I know that I'm not the only person that has it. I know that the only people that we really tend to talk about it with is those who are much more negatively affected by it, which is a small population of us who basically give their lives for ours. And that is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't think we talk about it enough. We don't talk about what it looks like. We don't talk about what it feels like. I don't even think we talk about how common it is. I would like to say that I believe most African Americans have it. I don't really like the term African American. Let me change that. Most Black people have it, especially just trying to survive being a Black person in America. It's pretty traumatic itself. But as we talk about trauma, and as we talk about healing our trauma, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about how serious it is and how serious it gets, and how we address it in the community, how we address it at church, right? Growing up in a charismatic church, anything that is not common, anything that doesn't look like what everybody else is doing, has been enshrined in demonic culture, right? We say it's the devil. This person has a demon, right? We see people run into the church, come down the aisle, and immediately we think something is off, or we see someone scream, we think something is off, right? It took me to be diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, to go through extensive therapy, to, I don't want to say recover, because I don't know that you ever fully recover, but to manage, both with medication, through therapy, through mindfulness, which is mostly meditation and grounding. You see me up in the trees, you see me in the water, my feet in the water, you see my feet in the grass. That's a part of mindfulness. That's a part of regrounding ourselves to the earth. And I discovered it through my own journey with post-traumatic stress disorder. Also, as a survivor of sexual abuse, I sustained a lot of trauma around that, which I think is really common with women in general. Let me say this. It's much more common that the women in your life within an arm's reach have been a victim of sexual violence in some sort of way, okay? And a lot of times what people think is, this person is promiscuous. Why is that? They're wrong. They're bad. There's something wrong with them. But I don't think we give much credence, or even we give very little thought into the sequence of events that happen in people's life. We have got to realize that no one just comes out of the womb with promiscuity on their mind or with fulfilling sexual desires or these deep billows that we do sometimes. I also know I'm not an anomaly. I also know that as I'm talking, almost all of you have experienced some level of trauma, whether that was abuse at home, just getting a whooping or a spanking, whether that was being put in timeout. That could even be that could cause some traumatic reactions, right? I also have a different kind of post-traumatic stress disorder that I discovered through therapy. And it was the common, I want to say Southern girl plague of being kind and being pushed out on a stage or being pushed to do whatever it is that you were really good at doing as a kid, and the trauma of having to be on all the time, right? That's not healthy. So the facade that church tells us to put on, that church, not the Bible, not God, church tells us to put on, the facade that we put on as certainly as women to ensure that our homes are taken care of, as professionals, as we're navigating just imposter syndrome, just working in life, driving down the road. Let's talk about mass shootings. Let's talk about watching someone die. Let's talk about growing up in neighborhoods with people being killed all the time, hearing gunshots, right? Those things can cause post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay? Let me tell you something. If there are loud noises that you hear, a lot of times we think people that go to war, they're the only people that deal with that, right? Loud bombs or things like that they may have heard overseas tend to recreate themselves into like, whether it's a loud car door alarm or whatever the case may be. We only really talk about that with military folks. We don't really talk about that with normal people. But the reality is, many of us are walking around trying to figure out, why in God's name am I so mad about everything? Why am I so afraid of everything? Right? Why does this trigger me? Why does this smell bother me? How we tie ourselves back to our first time being called a nigger, or our first time being called a bitch, or our first time being called fat or ugly, or being told you have nappy hair. I was one of those people. I was the outlier in my family. Those things can be very traumatic. They can really reshape who you are. And that is what that disease tends to do, is it changes your perception. You, a lot of times, are on guard so much. It's like walking around the world feeling like you can't take this coat off. You can't take this garment or armor off. And feeling like you just need to be on alert at all times. That's not a natural thing. Being taught to keep your head on a swivel, that's not a natural thing. That's not the way we were designed. We weren't designed to come here with all this trauma. We're actually created and much more socialized to be loving people in most cases, right? But I realize that many of us are walking around with PTSD that don't really know it. Sometimes we attribute it to like our demons. And that's a lot of times what people will say is, oh, it's just a demon. Okay. Okay. But there is a way to have that conversation about, hey, something happened to me. It made me feel this way, and I can work through it. There are tools to work through it, whether that is journaling, which I recommend you do, because I think anytime that you get serious about your life and you start to write things down, Erica Baidu said, if you want to see something happen, write it down and watch. I believe that as a master manifester. I believe that if you write it down, it can happen, right? If you write down your healing, this is what I feel today. I don't feel right. Something is off. I'm a little more agitated today. I'm a little more angry today. I'm a little more in fear today, right? Once we start to address those things, and then we start to put processes in place, we start to seek out medical professional help. I'm not talking about weed, okay? So, and I'm not anti-weed. Let's be clear. And if you know me, you know I am not anti-weed, okay? But weed isn't the solution. Weed is a medicine. It can be used as a medicine to help relax, to cope with pain. I had a medical marijuana card for years because I had the worst pain, just horrible pain, right? I'm not in that space. I do experience that pain, but I have learned other ways to deal with it on a daily basis. But there are other medications by which you can take. There are other things that are out there. Maybe it's not a medication you're interested in. Maybe it's drawing closer to God, which I think is probably the best. And if you can get that by way of meditation, praying, pause. Meditation is a form of prayer. Okay? Anytime you want to hear from the Lord on some real stuff, get quiet. Get quiet. Sit in your room, sit outside, but just get quiet. No music, no TV, just sit. You'll hear. You'll hear. And a lot of people will say, no, how do I know it's the voice of the Lord? Well, it'll be those things that come back up. That trauma that comes back up. That is the divine saying, hey, you need to work on that. You need to clean that up. How do you do that? Instead of running away from that, there are ways in which to be constructive with managing that trauma. There are ways in which to be constructive with handling the pains of our life. I would be absolutely wrong to come on and talk about all the negative things or all the things that I have that were negative that I have transmuted into positive things without giving you additional fruit to fix your own life, additional fruit to go on your own journey. Everyday life is hard. It's not going to stop getting hard. And to be real, if you're really trying to level up, it's going to get harder. But the beautiful part about that is you will have learned so many different things from navigating a disease, navigating trauma, navigating pain, navigating, I survived whatever that was. Let me tell you something. And if you have watched one person die, if you have, and many of you have been witnesses to overdoses. You have been witnesses to drive-by shootings. You have been witnesses to people just dropping dead. At a very young age, I watched someone drop dead in my face, and I never recovered from that. And I ain't even realized that it was still deep in there until during therapy, I started to like, yo, that really got me. That one really bothered me. But of course it did. Of course. I'm here today to petition you all to, whether you think you might have post-traumatic stress disorder. I'll even give you a definition for it if you need it. But if you feel like there's something in your life where you have not recovered, there has been, when you close your eyes, there's been something that constantly comes to your mind, no matter what that is, okay? That could be just the death of a parent. That could be the death of a dog. That could be a problem, but there's a way to fix it, right? So educating yourselves on, hey, I have some symptoms. How do I know if I have post-traumatic stress disorder? I'm gonna put a link so that you can find out. And then I would recommend you, once you take this test and you figure out, hey, maybe I have it, maybe I don't, I want you to journal. Write down why you think you have it. Write down what your symptoms are. Write down what are your triggers, right? Like if I hear a dog bark, does that remind me of something else? Does that take me back to when XYZ happened? Write it down. After that, start to get quiet. What does your mind tell you when you're quiet? Write that down. Even if it's bad, trust me, write it down. Even if you start to hear voices that don't seem like your own voice, that don't seem like, hey, I wouldn't normally be thinking about suicide. If that comes back up, there is probably something there to discover, right? So I want to loop back real quick. You may have watched another video of mine, one in which we talked about reclaiming our energy, right? I call back, I pull back all of my energy, cleansed, purified, and working for me, right? Call that back. Call that back, because what you do in that moment is you take the power back from what has happened to you, and you put power into what you want to happen to you, what you want to happen in your future, how you want to move forward. So that's the next thing. Call your energy back, and then I want you to seek out medical professional help. If you need help figuring that out, or hey, I don't even know how to find a therapist, I don't know how to find a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a social worker, hit me up. Hit me up. I will help you find a place where you can go. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to pay for it, so don't go out here and spread no lies. We only about facts over here. But if you feel like, I think I need some help, Brandy, reach me. My email is reachbrandy411@gmail.com. reachbrandi411@gmail.com. Email me, and I will help you find some resources. Because here's the reality. Am I benefiting from you being sick? No. We don't benefit when everybody's hurt. That's what I'm not understanding, why people don't see that. When we heal ourselves, we heal a multitude. When we heal, especially Black women, we heal a whole generation. And the reality is we got to stop playing around, acting like there's not something wrong when something is wrong. And we got to stop blaming everything on the devil and take responsibility for our lives. Taking responsibility when you have been a victim looks like this. This happened to me. I'm not in control of what it was, what that happened to me. But I am taking my power back by cleansing my energy constantly. People don't understand that energy is currency, right? If something enters into your energy, it can enter into your life. If it enters in as a thought, it can be a part of your reality. Calling your energy back says, I'm taking all my power back from all of my abusers. I'm taking my power back from all the people who are talking trash about me. I'm taking my power back from my parents, from my cousins, from my ex-lover, from my teacher, from whomever. Reclaiming your power is extremely important, and especially in fighting PTSD. You have got to constantly remind yourself, I am here, I am okay. I am here and I am okay, right? I won't make this video long, but share this video. If you want to help somebody, if you're serious about helping somebody, like on some real stuff, share this video. Let's get people healed. The more we heal people, the less we'll be experiencing mass shootings. The less we'll be experiencing more debt in our communities, more deaths in our communities, more babies who don't have a home. The more we heal each other, the more we'll start to even heal ourselves. The more we train our brains to understand that we are in control. I have the power now. No one else can take your power. Once you know how to get your power back, no one else can take your power. All right? So, be well. Seek wellness. It's a continual process. Not just wellness in your body, not just trying to be fine, because we all want to be fine, but we all like to eat. Or some of us, most of us, women, have hormonal issues that cause imbalances, right? I'm in my 30s, my late 30s. I'm sure there are a lot of women out here who are going through perimenopause right now. The moment someone says to a 30-year-old woman, you're getting fat, a lot of time that triggers that PTSD from being so overly concerned with your weight as a teenager. Do you see? You see how things just kind of work in hand with each other? So we got to focus on healing in here. Use your Bible and Tuesday night prayer and call your therapist and ground yourself and call back your energy. Woo! The power you will do, the things you can do in your life if you can do that. And I'm believing in you. I'm betting on you. Because if I can be fixed, if I can be healed, if I can be in sound mind with all of the stuff that's happened to me, so can you. You can do it too. So, I'm betting on you. I believe in you. Share this video with at least 3 people. I love y'all.